too. Because it's funny, we sometimes I used to only record just when people ask, but like now I've started recording all of them for all of the times we do this because they're so helpful. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, like I go back and review it, and then I come up with other ideas that I didn't have on the spot. So
it's great. Okay, so I think we're recording. All right, we're good. Okay, anyway, so aside from the avatars, so Jorge, do you want to walk me through these? I took a quick look at them beforehand, but I think we can touch them on a high level,
sure.
And we can just kind of run through them at a high level each. So we can just start with Dan if you want to run me through it.
Sure.
Don't feel like you've got to read all of it. Let's just sort of summarize it.
Yeah, and also, by the way, as we're going through this too, if we try to answer these to the best of our ability, but if you have any input on how we should maybe try to hone in on something, refine it, then let us know. So Dan is the quotes, by the way, were really kind of fun to kind of come up with, but their thing is why can't anybody understand me? Yet that's like their sort of question, yet they actually don't really want the answer. This is a kind of like a key component of, I think, aspiring sort of screenwriters is you have these sort of older retired folks.
Yeah, the older retired cantankerous, I know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And
yet I'm seeing no success. Well, maybe you
right.
don't know everything.
Who would have thought? And for them, their goals are just they're kind of trying to get that validation, and whereas other avatars, they're more sort of keen on trying to get representation and thinking about it in a longer term. It seems like their goals are a little bit more sort of short-sighted. They just really want to sort of sell a one-off script and get one project sort of made. So they have a different sort of lens in which they're sort of viewing the benefits to roadmap writers from.
They want the quick fix.
Quick fix, absolutely.
Is this really your ideal target? Is this really who you want?
So that I think is
that kind of trickle.
Really, sorry, say again. You kind of cut out.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, is this actually who you want, or do you just find that this is somebody who's in the mix?
This is who's in the mix. Actually, as we're going through this, maybe that will sort of come to light. But we didn't identify who is the one that we want. But I mean, I could tell you right now that this is not the ideal customer we want. I mean,
but it is a sizable portion of our clientele. So
very
they're the kind of people where it's like, okay, they keep paying for stuff and blah blah blah, and we're kind of like, you should really do this so that you can improve this, and they're like, no, I know best. I'm just gonna do whatever I want, and then all right, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
They're sort of, but they keep paying you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
But
okay.
So that's sort of that person in a nutshell. And we do get more granular, but I think that sort of encapsulates it.
I think it's great. Okay.
We have another one here, Tonya, who she's got money to burn and she's willing to do the work. Her
husband owns EMI Records.
Yeah, true story. So this is sort of like we have quite a number of writers who are females, and they're money is not an issue for them. They're very committed to sort of doing this. They're homemakers. They're either they've inherited something in their past life, they made a ton of money, or they're married into great financial resource.
So you guys built these on actual people, like actual customers?
Yes.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, cool. That's great.
So I mean, this sort of avatar, they're very interested in access. They actually want to get better. They want validation. When it comes to sort of the pain points, for them it's a little interesting. They want to be able to demonstrate sort of their value to their significant other, to this person who they're saying, hey, this is what I'm spending my money on. They want to see that they're improving. Let's see.
And to sort of have something tangible to show. So sometimes scores and contests or things like that. But that, because oftentimes they're not really spending their money. They're spending the couple's money.
Yeah.
So sometimes they need to justify it to their significant other.
And trust is really big on for this sort of avatar, because there's so many people out there, and they tend to be very nice and trusting people. So you know, people
And
that
they're
might be
really
predatory.
long. Yeah.
Yep. People that might be predatory out there, you know, they're fearful of those. So trust is really big for this customer.
So what would be, so like you'd say sort of one of their major pain points of this would be sort of lack of trust, or like why are they coming to you? Like what stage, are they in any stage, or are they in a particular stage of their process?
Most of them have written something before.
Okay.
And because people like this, they usually start with like Screenwriting U and stuff like that, or UCLA Extension even, to learn like the craft of screenwriting. And then they sort of come to us for like real world industry stuff, marketing, rewriting, things like that.
Okay. So they've written something before, but they just have not been able to get any traction. Maybe would be a way to put it. They need sort of real world marketing help.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would probably fall into that, like, yeah, that third bucket number 3.
Yeah, needing to learn how to market.
Yeah, actually, let's make sure we'll do that for each of these avatars as we go through.
Yeah. So for Dan is, sounds like, is he kind of a number 3 too? Because he needs to sell a script.
I mean,
well, here's
those guys only have one script oftentimes. So sometimes it's that they really need to write something new.
Yeah.
That's what they should be doing, but
that's what they should be doing, but they won't do it.
Right.
What they think that they need is to just start marketing. Like they think they're in bucket number 4.
Got it. Okay.
But really they're in bucket number 1, 2, and 3. They need to write something new. They need to revise what they have, and they need to learn how to market it.
Yep.
Okay.
They need the whole thing.
Okay. But perception is important, right? Because
totally.
Once they get into your program, you can realign them, right?
Yes.
Once they get in. But it's when they come there for the first time, you know, they don't think they need to write something new. They think they need to sell a script, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that could actually be a fun thing, is trying to, you know, speaking to avatar number 1 and sort of framing it in a way where they're actually going through bucket 1, 2, and 3, but it's just a matter of A, perception, and B, how we frame it. But we could get there. So avatar 3 is a really interesting one. I think there's a lot of these. These are those that are actually kind of working in the industry in a certain capacity. They are, since they work in the industry.
Oh, no, these are the industry adjacent people. These are the people that teach screenwriting.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. Industry adjacent. Right. So they're educators. Thanks, Dorian. They want to get better. They want a manager. You know, for them, I think some of the sticking, you know, they're willing to do the work. They've read everything that there is about the craft.
Because they usually went to film school or went to school for screenwriting. So
their big pain points, I think, are here: limited funds. It's about balancing the coursework and their 9 to 5s. And for some of them, I think they truly perceive that proximity is a major hurdle. They may live in a major city, but it's not it's not LA. So, you know, you've got the Bostons, the San Franciscos, you know, Chicagos, but which have great opportunities, but, you know, there's this mental hurdle that if they're not in LA, then I don't know.
Which they're not really wrong. Being in LA is half the battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say, let's see, what bucket would these cats fall into?
They're usually the needing to learn how to market, because they've usually got a couple of screenplays under their belt. They might even teach as like an adjunct professor, teaching screenwriting. So they're more about learning how to market and getting their stuff out there.
Okay.
Seeing a trend here.
Yep.
All right.
That's why we do this, Jorge.
Yeah, hip hip. All right. So that was number 3. So moving on to 4, who do we have? Michael. So Michael is the person who actually works in the industry. their big sort of thing is everybody, like, they know the ins and outs. They don't want BS. They want it, like, they want quick results. Tell it to them straight. Their obstacle is people
They
know
want
them.
access to people that will take them seriously because they work in the industry. They often work at a production company or at a management company or at an agency or something like that, but they can't be taken seriously by people who know that they work there. So they want access to people in other parts of the industry where they can come to them as a writer instead of being perceived as the coordinator at De Bonaventura. You know what I mean?
Okay. And if somebody who wants access, is this somebody who then has got a script? I mean, like, do these guys have scripts already? Because they're trying to go to market.
Yeah, they even teach classes for us sometimes, but they're writers and they're working for producers or managers or agents, but they want to break in as writers.
Okay.
So you can probably guess what bucket we're gonna put these guys in.
What I was gonna say, is it 3 or is it 4?
I would say it's a combination of both. Like, I guess when they first come to, I think it's a combination of both because some of them already know how to pitch and they know that stuff. And then there's others that like that kid at Covert, the new receptionist at Covert, where he needs to learn how to market.
Yeah, so, actually, part of this,
like Dan Ingram and Nat Topping, like, I think they could just go straight to marketing because they sat in a billion pitch meetings. They know.
I think of like the Tim Davises though, who they've written a bunch of. No, I guess it comes down to marketing. No, never mind. Yeah.
Okay.
So 3, 4.
They either need to learn how to market, but they'll pick it up fast, and then they can just go straight into marketing. Some of them already know how to market and just can go straight into marketing.
I mean, is there anybody that really comes in and can just go pitch, or do you have to at least align them a little bit?
I feel like there's hardly anybody that can just come in and pitch.
I mean, but they probably think they could.
Tons of people that do that, but like everybody should kind of learn a little bit about pitching and marketing themselves before they just dive in and do it.
Right.
But that said, it's like there's so many people where their perception is that they're ready to market and ready to pitch. So that's the thing that brings them in because the open pitch sessions are the cheapest thing.
Got it.
And that's bucket 4.
Got it. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. And again, I think it's good to know kind of where they actually are, but where they perceive themselves to be, because the perception is what we're going to use to pull them in. But it's good for you guys to know, because then when somebody buys open pitch, the reality is they might need to be upsold to something that's actually in bucket 3, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So that's Michael.
Kurt is, they're sort of middle-aged there. They, they're sort of a little bit closer to the cantankerous old Avatar number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Dorian, you cut out. Can you say that again?
Oh no, frozen.
You're freezing.
Hello?
There you go.
I hear you now, at least.
I think our internet's unstable, Jorge.
No.
But these people usually have a ton of scripts and they're decent writers.
Okay.
They usually tend to the only thing they do is like open pitch, and they only do written pitches. They don't get face to face with people. They don't do anything. They just submit written pitches. And like the quote on this is perfect. I'm a good writer and I'll get signed on that merit alone. And it's like, no, you won't. You have to play the game. You have to network. You have to get face to face with people. Like just showing people written pitches isn't going to do it. Like it's not just about your writing. And that's what we have to get through to these people is it's not just about your writing. It's about, this is a business of relationships. Talent is only part of it.
Okay. So that would be their perception then is they think they're a number 4 then? Is that what?
They think they're a number 4. And they like, they kind of are. They're ready to like market, like their pitches are okay, but they don't understand that they need to be getting face to face with people, that it's a business of relationships, that it's not just about getting people to read your work, that it's about engaging with them as a human being. first. So they kind of like, it's kind of like they're in bucket 4, but again, they need some of the lessons from bucket 3.
Okay.
But they just won't do it. I can't tell you how many times I've asked Kurt to take my written pitch clinic or to take her to do this or that. No, I'm fine with my written pitches. All right. You do you, Kurt.
Okay. Interesting.
And Dennis is the other one that's just exactly like that. Talented writer. I love his script, Armageddon Nights. It's Mad Max Fury Road meets Monty Python and the Holy Grail about a post-apocalyptic motorcycle gang led by a descendant of King Arthur himself. It's fucking brilliant, but all he does is written pitches.
Some real inside baseball for you there, Alan.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How many students do you guys have? Because you guys know these guys really well.
Well, there's probably like 100 or so in the membership at any given time, 125 like in the membership. But like I said, Kurt and Dennis are the people that aren't members.
Got it.
They just do open pitch and they just submit written pitches. But Kurt will always send a feedback report every time he gets his feedback from the exec. And like, so they're like, he's like engaged. Whereas Dennis, it's like, we really don't hear anything from him. But Joey finally got Dennis to get out in like a virtual meetup the other day. But it's like, that's our whole shtick, is it's all very personal. We know all the writers pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's
awesome.
Like,
we see their pitches, like we're sitting there when the exec's reading their pitches or hearing their pitches. So we know what their projects are. We know whether they pitch verbally or by writing all the time. Like we sort of know what they need. They just don't always listen to us when we try to tell them what they should do.
Yeah, I know that feeling sometimes. Okay. All right. So Jorge, you said there's these 2 other ones?
Yeah, that we were talking about. I was talking about with Joey. We were going to actually try to tackle him before this call, but he was actually going to try to join us at 4, but I hear him in the other room. Yeah, there's this other sort of Tatjana, Anthony, and Dorian. You may be able to relate to these, but essentially they don't have a lot of money. They'll spend whatever they have to do it, like discretionary sort of money. But they're just a little bit
very careful payment plans for whatever they're going to do. They ask politely for discounts. But it's a money thing for them. They're determined. They have scripts. They're ready to go. Like Anthony is even in top tier, but he has to like only do it every other month, and he has to split the payment up, like half the 15th, half the 30th. So it's like they just don't have the disposable income to really consistently do a program every month.
And how much is the program? Like, what's your most expensive program?
Well, group month mentorships are the most expensive program, but that's not membership. So the most expensive membership program that we have is $399 for the month. And the cheapest membership that we have is $59 for the month.
Got it. Okay.
It's like $59, $299, $349, $375, and $399. Those are the prices for memberships.
Okay. So, this sort of, Anthony group, this could be anybody, but just somebody who's a little more cost sensitive. So they could be anywhere in the process, but they're just more cost sensitive.
Well, but they're very open to knowing that they need to learn.
Okay.
Understanding they need to get face to face with people and understand they need to learn how to market and they need to blah, blah, blah. They just don't have the money. So they don't really do open pitch, because they're like, they'd rather spend their money on top tier or on a marketing clinic or something like that. They just don't have much money to spend.
Got it. Okay.
So I think they're kind of in like bucket 3.
Okay.
They know that they need to learn how to market and they know they need to learn how to play the game. They're not just people that are like, that just want to do a marketing thing and that's it.
Okay. Is there anybody who comes in with the perception that they're in number 1 or number 2, bucket number 1 or bucket number 2?
I would say that no, not really, because it's like a lot of people will come in and have one script and they think that that's like enough and they can go market that one script or they just rewrite that one script and it's like, you need to keep writing and continually generate material. And so a lot of people, they just don't know that that's what they need to do. They think, oh, I can write one thing and that's it. And it's like, no, you have to keep writing. So those people, it's like, we kind of encourage them. And it's like, I don't know. Because there are people that, I mean, obviously we have plenty of classes that are for writing a new thing. And there are plenty of people that sign up for that stuff, but they're usually people who have done some things before and have been kicking around an idea and whatnot. So I don't know, like the super, super green people, like Joey, do we have many people that really come to us knowing they need to write something new?
Sometimes. I would say it's more people who feel like they're ready.
Yeah, it's more people that feel like they're ready. People who feel like they need to learn screenwriting from the ground up usually do something at like Screenwriting U or UCLA Extension, or they do something like that, or Pilar Alessandra or Jen Grisanti, whereas they view us as more like you come to us when you're sort of more ready.
I say that like one of the biggest things is that I'll make it a coffee and sit in. Hi, Alan.
Hey, how you doing, Jerry?
Good.
Look at his guns.
I literally just took off my shirt a second ago.
For you.
I usually have a shirt on. That's not true.
That's not true. He never has a shirt on.
So usually what I would say is they come to us when they feel like they're ready, and then they do a bunch of like pitching programs and marketing programs, and then they start doing the like, oh, maybe I do need another script.
Yeah, right. So that was sort of a leading question, because the thought was like, once they get in, you guys have 4 buckets, you put them in internally, right? But their perception is what's going to determine what they sign up for and when they actually buy or when they opt in, right? So when we're pulling into the story of who you guys are, what you do, it sounds like the pain points you want to really hit early on are going to be pain points around marketing and going to market and selling the script, because the majority of people think they've got something they can work with already, right? And it's only once they get inside that they go, oh shit, maybe actually I need to write something new.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a good point, is they kind of come in with the thing that they have, and then when they're sort of not getting traction with it, they sort of start to see like, oh, I need to have more in my portfolio than just this one thing.
And we writers that like graduated from CLA, and then they're like, I already know how to write.
And they have like one script, and then again, it's like you need to write more.
Yeah.
And also what you learned in NYU is not the same as the industry actually works.
Yeah.
So.
Dude,
I look like I got punched in the face or something. I feel like my cat like punched me. Do I have like a bruise over it?
No.
It's my imagination then, I guess.
All right, learn to market. Okay, so this is good. I'm just taking notes here real quick. To market. Okay, so let's sort of shift. Let's talk about the unique selling propositions, and this is where we can start to refine this a bit, knowing what we just discovered about these perceptions of who your avatars are. Okay, so primary selling propositions, and I can run through these. So courses taught by industry professionals actively working in the business, right? Is that something very different? Is that really something unique to you guys?
It is. Other places have some, execs and reps doing it, but ours is pretty much entirely from, I'd say 98% of all of our stuff is taught from people who are working in the business today. So, versus getting, outdated info from someone who used to work in the business, a few years ago, you're getting it, straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. You are the insiders to a certain degree.
Correct.
Right?
It's the inroad.
Okay. All right. Personal connection, genuine, authentic, real, meaning you guys have a very hands-on approach, right?
Correct.
Yeah, we're not like man in the high castle. Like, we're very accessible. We're genuine. We're real people just like them.
And I'd say too, like one of the biggest selling points, I think, and why a lot of writers stay with us is that a lot of our sessions are roundtable settings where it's like the writers are getting feedback from the exec, but they're also hearing their peers getting feedback as well.
Yeah, peer learning. Yeah,
it feels very immersive and interactive, where it starts feeling like a community where you see the same people over and over again. It feels kind of familiar. I think that's a big selling point, that a lot of what we do, if not everything we do, has that kind of the roundtable setting.
Do you think that's a selling point for somebody who's not been in that setting before, or do you think once they're in there, they see the value of being part of a group?
The second, once they're in there, I just think some people don't like doing the group ones until they're in it, and they're like, "Oh, well, I needed to hear how other people did it." Yeah.
Totally. So I think, and that's an important distinction there, right? That's an important distinction, because I think if you sold the product saying, "Hey, look, this is a group program," they'd be like, "No, right? I want a hands-on, personal attention approach," which is what you have. But then the group, once they get in there, the group program is actually ends up being an add-on benefit that they didn't expect.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and then I think, talking about like upselling and things like that, I think, there are a lot of other programs designed where, if you do want sort of a more one-on-one opportunity to work with someone, you can do like, a month mentorship or something like that, where that's something that it's more expensive, but you get that real one-on-one time afterwards.
Okay. All right, so that's good. Okay, so we actively cultivate new industry relationships daily. We have paved new roads each day. Okay. Basically meaning you guys are going out and creating the connections for your students to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to think about how to phrase that, but I get what you're saying here. Okay.
Like our motto is always in your corner.
Yeah, no, it's a great motto, but the problem is it's just not clear in and of itself, right? So we need to figure out how that gets said in a way that for somebody who's coming to you guys, it's cold. So the mind frame I'm thinking through this in is, ultimately as you guys scale, you're going to have cold audiences coming through, or just, lukewarm audiences that are coming. And we need to figure out to get somebody who's lukewarm, who doesn't really understand what you do yet, doesn't understand the value you provide yet, who has a perceived, sort of has a perception of what they need and a perception of what their pain point is. How do we get them hooked within that first couple seconds to say, oh yeah, these are my guys. I got to talk to these guys. Like I gotta buy this product. I got to watch this webinar because these guys are speaking to me in a way that nobody else does. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're not currently enrolled in one of our programs, to stay in touch and advocate for your work, your success is our success. Okay.
One thing I was going to throw out there, and I apologize, I came in late, so
you're good.
It's like off, whatever. Is that we sometimes do these free, like one-off workshops where it's totally free, and we usually invite people who just opt into our mailing list or that we're not familiar with, and we read their pages beforehand, and we offer them feedback in a roundtable setting. And I would say that's usually after that, 50% of the people that have taken it sign up for something within a week afterwards, a new writer. So it's just like, because there's so many like scammy companies out there, but once they see the actual person and the attention to detail, then they usually sign up for something after they've encountered how we work and who we are, like in action.
How often do you guys do those?
We do them probably twice a month.
Oh, okay. So is that something that could like live on the homepage as you sign up for our free roundtable? We'll come up with
totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Seems like that should be an evergreen pitch that should probably be part of A, the homepage, and then B, your email campaigns. When somebody signs up for like a free webinar, like a pre-recorded webinar, in that email campaign, pitching them on to sign up for the next free roundtable or whatever you call it. Because that's a massive conversion rate on whoever you can get into that event to sign up. So it sounds like you should be filtering as many people as you can into that are cold prospects. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's see here. Let's talk about, all right, we're here to make you feel comfortable and confident in finding the right class for you. So what does that mean? Like finding the right class for them. Do you guys do something specific to help them find that right class?
Well, I would say, like, for example, like somebody emailed me the other day and it's like, hey, I've heard about your company. There's so many things to do. Should I sign up for this one? And I'm like, well, instead of like, let's set a call and let me hear more about exactly what your project is, where you are. And then from there, I'll let you know what I think would be the best one versus being like, you've written for 2 years, you should do this. but really getting more of like an understanding of how many scripts they have.
Have they marketed it before? Have they ever pitched before?
I mean, Alan, it's similar to sort of your initial sort of proposition, which is, setting up an initial call and then taking that opportunity to assess the needs.
Yeah, it's very similar. That's why I'm kind of smiling at it, because it works so well. Because it's true though, right? It's true because it's genuine, right? And the idea is it's sort of for you and for them, which is, you have a conversation. If it's a great fit, it's a great fit, and there's a connection that makes total sense. It's almost your job to get them to join, because if they actually want to hit their goals, you guys know you're the best option for them, and you're going to put them in the right class for them to do it, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Small class sizes. So, okay, I'm looking at secondary. So small class sizes, virtual classrooms, no matter where you're in the world, variety of courses for all skill levels. Okay, so let's sort of take this and let's try to distill this down into sort of 3 pieces here. And this is sort of what I'm gleaning out of this, but you guys, redirect me here. So what I see as being when I say glean this down to the sort of 3 things, I mean the 3 things that the majority of cold or lukewarm visitors are going to need to understand to make them take the next step with you guys, right? And when we went through all these avatars, the thing that bubbled to the surface is that most of them perceive themselves to be in either bucket 3 or 4, which means they either need to kind of learn the real world marketing, learn the real world tactics and marketing tactics to get their script out there, right? So they need to learn sort of the street smarts in order to how to do it. Going and taking a class at wherever they went to school, film school, wherever it was, didn't work. Now they know how to write. They can produce a script. Maybe they have a script, but they need to learn the tactics and the real world tactics to go to market. So that's for their perception, or they feel like they just need to go to market and they need help going to market, right? So that's the perception. So that's their pain. So what we want to do is try to bubble up what these unique selling propositions are that touch that pain in a way that's unique to you and solves their problem, right? So anything that talks about sort of you guys being the biz insiders helps with that, because you can help go to market.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Wait, sorry, Alan. You kind of froze up there for a sec. Could you go back?
Yep. So what I was saying was, what we want to do then is bubble up the items that hit that pain point and hit that perception the hardest, right? And so of these that we've talked about, the fact that you guys are all industry insiders hits that, right? Because it means you've got connections in the industry, right? And so the fact that you work in the business and are insiders, and the fact that you guys build connections in the industry sort of fall into the same bucket for me. Then, so that one right there really touches on the sort of bucket number 3, bucket number 4, go to market. Then after that, I think the hands-on approach is huge, because that's a major differentiator, right? This isn't just like a little online course. This is a very handheld process. So we need to talk about your very hands-on, very personal, concierge isn't the right word, but very concierge type approach to handling your students and your clients. And then small class size thing doesn't tug at me, because it infers there's a class. And it kind of goes a bit contrary to the hands-on concierge concept. Let me see.
She just sent this to me today at 9 a.m. though.
She's an idiot, that's why. Is there an idiot bucket that we can include?
Just had an idiot writer email me about something Joey emailed her back about yesterday, apparently.
Yeah, it's always an idiot bucket. Can't avoid the idiot bucket. Okay. I kind of, honestly, those are the 2 big things. So I think maybe maybe we split it up. It's going to be the fact that you guys work in the business, so you're being taught by industry insiders, you have a hands-on sort of personal concierge approach, and you actively build a network of connections in the industry to help get scripts sold. Those three to me hit the perception bucket of, I can write, I'm okay with writing, but I need real world expertise and how to go to market. And then I need an actual strategy and connections to go to market with. You guys can redirect me if you disagree.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sort of secondary pieces in here that I think need to be told through just other elements of what you do. Like, your success is our success. That's something that could be sort of written as part of like your about manifesto, right? So there's pieces where we can really layer this in and these other elements in. But the three things that I want to know. So when I land on the site, the very first thing I want to know is, what do you do, right? And you guys, it says educational screenwriting services, but really it's more about marketing. It's more about getting scripts sold, right? It's more about what can we say about you guys that goes beyond screenwriting to encompass sort of the main goal, which is eventually getting somebody's script accepted, right? Did you guys, am I interpreting that right?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a fine line, because we can't openly promote saying we're going to send your script to a bunch of places.
Sure.
It always has to be education first, just legally. So just anything we say, I think the biggest thing is that because it's so interactive and we vet the executives so much that there's times when an exec will continue working with the writer after. We just can't promise that. So it's just the
I think maybe also hitting the point that this is a business of relationships. So build some relationships at Roadmap. You know what I mean? Like, because it is a business of relationships, and that's like sort of what we help facilitate is, bringing execs together with writers and seeing if, sparks fly. I don't know. I guess that's not a sexy way to say it.
No, I'm just reading this who we are section right now. Online school catering to thousands of writers around the world makes our school unique, as taught by working executives currently working in the industry. Yeah. Still though, it's like what you are is what you guys are is a team of, industry insiders helping writers perfect their scripts, market their scripts, and go to market with their scripts, right?
Yeah.
I think it's something as clean as that. And we're not going to solve this line on the call, but I want to start the process. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. So the goal here then, and Joey, we were talking about this earlier before you got on, but the goal here, what we're trying to accomplish by doing this whole exercise right now, is when somebody comes to the site, so, the first half, top half of the page, or they land on a social account, or they see an ad, or whatever it may be, they get their first letter, email from you. We want to have something that looks like a very simple, clear sentence. It doesn't have to be a tagline, because I don't like the term tagline. I like simple sentence better because I like it to be really clear, but clearly states in very simple terms who you are and what you do. And then anything we can provide that supports that. And I typically like to find 2 to 4 pieces of supporting information that supports that simple sentence, that adds more clarity around it, that explains what you do and why we should care. And the why we should care is the most important piece, right? So we could talk about how you guys are experts at helping people write their first script or perfect their first script or write their second script, right? But if the perception of these people come to the site is that I can already write, I just need help marketing and selling, then those are the pains we got to hit. So to me, it's, you guys are, a team of industry veterans that help you market. And what's the right term? Is it take script to market, or like how do you guys phrase it?
Can I, maybe I'm not going to answer that question yet, but the one thing that you said before that I really like, real world.
Yeah.
I think that's really special, because we are really real world, where a lot of places would be like, write this, just write this and this will sell, or write this, but it's not. It lacks the authenticity.
Performing arts school.
I'm not very authentic. I'm very fake. But I like the real world one. But yeah, in terms of going to market makes sense. Like
taking.
But let's play with that for a second though. Like, you guys are a team of industry veterans that help writers market and sell their scripts in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Market themselves and their scripts, because a lot of the time it's to get signed to a manager, which is more marketing yourself and your brand and your portfolio than a single script.
Yeah.
I'm just writing this down.
Authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it means?
No, I'm nervous. I'm not going to say it right.
You don't have to use that word. You can just say genuine.
Genuine.
There you go. My shirt's on inside out.
Oh, I knew it.
Do you guys call it a program? Like, how do you guys refer to what you do? It's educational screenwriting services.
Well,
but like, if you ever what's Roadmap Writers? Are you guys like a consultancy? Are you guys educate? Like, how would you describe it?
it's kind of both. So like the services are things like proofreading and like coverage and consultations and stuff like that. Whereas the programs are the classes, the clinics, the membership programs, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would put month mentorship under service probably.
Yeah.
But everything else, like the classes and the month long and the membership programs are programs. So there's kind of two different buckets. That's why on our Wix site, there's a services tab and a programs tab.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is really confusing to a cold prospect because they don't know what they need, right?
Now I'm like, what's the difference?
Yeah. And like, it almost doesn't matter, right? It's almost kind of like, you know, Joey, like you were saying earlier, you know, somebody tells you what their problem is and then you tell them where to go.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's why I'm saying, like, we hardly ever have a sale from somebody just stumbling on the website and buying something. It always ends up, we have an email correspondence or a phone call or something with them before, to give them a little guidance before they actually sign up for something.
Yep.
A few months ago, somebody who I've worked for, and she was like, I want to sign up for something on your site, but I have information overload paralysis, where like there's so many things I'm being thrown at that I don't even know where to start.
There's
so I don't sign up for
so
anything.
many things to choose from that I don't know what to sign up
for the new writer. For the people who've done stuff with us before,
they kind of
they can sign. They'll sign up for anything. But the new, I can see the new ones being kind of
confused.
Yeah, 100%, and that's absolutely accurate. And that was sort of my first assessment too. Is I just wouldn't even know where to go. I think we start with, and I'm going to let you guys sort of ponder this and think it through a little bit more. But I think we need to start with a simple sentence that's something like, you know, we help you market yourself, and we help you market and sell your script to the real world. You know, market yourself and sell your script to the real world. And then just say, you could be a simple sentence, you know, we help you do this, because that makes it really clear. If I land on the site, who's Roadmap Writers? Okay, clearly they help me. And you maybe even say, we help you write, market, and sell your script to the real world.
Yeah.
If you want to include write, you know.
Can we say help you market?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Can we say that though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we teach them how to market themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then maybe we have like a more in-depth description that goes along with that. But then I think the three supporting points that are your unique selling propositions are, a team of industry veterans. I'm not saying we need to use that language, but maybe it's even better to be more specific. A team of former, I don't even know, how would you guys describe yourselves? Is it a team of former writers? Or?
Right, because Joey used to work at a production company. I worked at management and production companies and et cetera, and Jorge comes from the Tracking Board, which is like a major industry sort of news website and screenwriting competition.
Okay. So we'll run with that for now. A team of industry insiders, and we can build on this. something about the hands-on approach. I think it's like, I mean, could you call it a, one-on-one hands-on approach? Like you guys get
curated, guided, like
a one-on-one guided approach.
We use guided a lot. I think that's a good word.
Or personalized approach. Because that's something that is big, is we try to take a personalized approach with each writer. We try to tell them what we think that they should do based on where they are, and whether they take that advice or not is up to them. Dennis?
Maybe a one-on-one personalized roadmap.
Yeah, zing, roadmap.
And then what can you say about the industry connections? Is that a gray area?
No, I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's like we work with, executives, agents, managers, from producers from all corners of the industry. We've cultivated these relationships over many years, blah, blah, blah.
And new ones are constantly, we're
constantly bringing new ones into the fold.
Do you think it's important to put an adjective before executives, like writer friendly? I'm just curious if writers have a certain outlook on execs that make them nervous.
I like the idea of putting an adjective there, more so just to say, because if it's like an active network of what, right? Are they, open profession, something that insinuates that, look, we cultivate a network of people that we can introduce you to, or are interested in your scripts.
Yeah, it's not open, but writer.
I know it's not the right word, but
like that. We'll keep thinking about the adjective.
Yeah, and we'll keep thinking about it. But that, let this sort of sink in. But that would be, given everything we just talked about, I think that's how we slice this. And obviously, everything else that you do, we're gonna, when we talk about the individual programs, the individual services, like we can talk about all this other stuff. But what we just need is this snapshot that just somebody lands on the site. We would need them to go, okay, I'm in the right place, right? I've been looking for this. This is what I need. I've been writing. I'm Sean, right? I went to school for this, right? I just need to know how to market it, right? No, I'm Michael. I work in the industry. I just need to know how to go out and pitch, right? And these guys are my people, right? They can show me how to pitch. And they've got a network that I can go pitch to.
Yeah.
And then from there, we kind of let them self-select. Well, actually from there, I think we actually layer in some social proof, because I think it's going to bolster the story a bit. If we say, who you work with, you could have we can include these logos directly below this top part of the page and have it say, NBC Universal, Bold Films, kind of like you do now. I think that's actually great. We just need a better story up above that. And then from there, we let them self-select. We let them choose one of those 4 buckets they want to go to. And then from there, I think we try to get them into an easy opt-in, like one of these free roundtables or a free webinar on the homepage.
Or the free pitch prep.
Or, yeah, right. One of these free, tripwire type products, lead magnets is what we call it, that gets them into an email list so you can start to nurture them. Okay. What do you guys think?
I think it makes sense.
Sounds solid.
Okay.
So then what are sort of the action items here? It's coming up with that sort of initial statement.
Mm-hmm. So remind me of what you guys have. Let's talk about sort of resources. Do you guys have, like, when you guys do like design work, do you guys have anybody that is internal that does that for you? Or when you guys like do emails and come up with like the graphics on the site, like who's doing that?
Brandon.
Who's Brandon?
Brandon Bear. He's our creative director. He was on the first call.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't think he talked, but I remember him being on the call.
He just listened.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sweet. Okay. So just trying to figure out what the next steps here. So the next steps here are, let's take this piece and let's kind of let it marinate and have you guys kind of talk it over, think about it, and let's try to refine it down. And the way that I always like to do this, that I find to be the most helpful, is literally just open up a Google Doc and just write like 10 different versions of the simple sentence. Like, what's this simple sentence that tells you? And actually, I'm going to give you guys some examples here.
It is.
Oh, you did it.
Oh.
That's pretty.
Okay. So here's an example right now. This is actually one of our other clients that we just finished working with. We just totally redid their entire story structure for their site. So you can sort of see this manifest here in this brand. These guys called Ebbets Field and Flannel, and what they do is they produce historically accurate sportswear from like the 1920s. So like these old teams that don't exist anymore, they produce the same sort of hats and jerseys that they wore in the same materials, same stitching, same styling, everything. They were like historically accurate. And their simple sentence is keeping sports history alive so you can wear it. Ball caps, clothing, authentically crafted to match the spirit of the original garments. Weave local color and history into an array of products as timeless as the game itself. I think this is a little too fancy, to be honest, right? It doesn't need to be that fancy for you guys. You guys need to be a little more straightforward. But the concept here is simple sentence, some supporting information, and then their primary unique selling propositions of what they do. Historically accurate, American made, finest grade materials. So there's no question here, within the first few seconds of browsing, what these guys do and what they sell, right? So this is what this layout doesn't have to do what you guys do. We'll talk about layout later, but this is what we want to take what we just talked about and try to distill it down. So I think the first step here is going to be taking what we just talked about, and let's take a couple passes at this language and let you guys talk about that internally. And let's see if we can find something that really makes sense for your market, that simple sentence and these three supporting pieces of information. So that would be step one. Then step two is, let's take a look at the themes, Dorian, and let's figure out which of these we want to utilize and how we want to place this information. Last time I did some quick sketches for you guys about how to lay this out. I think what we should do is we should talk about the themes right now.
Sorry, you froze up there.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, guys. I think it's my internet connection this time. So let's take a look at the themes, and let's talk about how we could utilize these and where to put this information. So what I like about both these is that you've got some space right here that we could utilize to tell the story and even incorporate some iconography below it. So we could do that here. We could also just do it in this main box up here. And then in this section down here, include those three unique selling propositions. Let's see. The other way we could do it is we could actually do them on the right-hand side. So we could have like this box right here be your main simple sentence, maybe a simple paragraph below, and then maybe a call to action button that takes them into some of your programming. And then on the right-hand side, where you see these mugs, over here, we could actually have, your three supporting pieces of information. Your, industry veterans, one-on-one personal roadmap, active network of professionals, whatever you want to call it. So sort of looking at this, and that's why I want to see who in the team has some design background, or who would be sort of taking the lead on this, so that we could kind of work on that placement together. But let's go back to these sketches we talked about. Oh, you guys can't see this, can you?
No, we see it.
Oh, you can see this? Okay. But the theory here is we want to have sort of banner, simple sentence, supporting unique selling propositions, 4 buckets, and then we talked about doing some social proof. I think we could actually move this up so that we show the partners you work with above the buckets. I think that adds I think that's going to help first. So I think we actually end up switching those. but this needs to be sort of the top half of the homepage. And this, Joey, to your point, is going to totally reduce that clutter and information overload, because we're going to take them from what's our simple sense of what we do, give them a couple really easy access points into something. We'll figure out what these call to actions are. They're going to understand the main benefits that your brand provides. Then we're going to let them self-select, then we're going to show social proof, and then we're going to let them self-select. And that's going to be what 90% of people who come to the site are going to do first, or they're going to go up here to the navigation. Some people might continue to scroll, and we can talk about what they do there in a second. But that's the structure and the hierarchy of the story that I think we should start with.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah, I like the Tokyo theme personally.
Yeah, I think we saw that the other day. I like that one.
Yeah, I'll look at this one.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this too.
Because I like this part too.
Yeah, I like this too.
Checker thing, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. You could even use this as sort of your self-selection piece too.
Yeah.
Right. And these right here are your 4 buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, I think what we could do too is you could have. So now that I'm thinking this, and I can even resketch this out for you guys so we can hand this off to Brandon, right? Is it Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This main banner, right, could be your simple sentence with maybe some, a simple, another sort of piece of supporting sentence below it. I don't know where we want to take them first. We'll have to talk about that, given there's 4 buckets. But then down here, we could have a graphic on the right that's got your.
One thing that I think it would be great if we could always guide them to the Career Writer program first.
Yeah.
That's like the backbone of our company. And
Okay.
like once they do the first program, then they do the next one, the next one, the next one. There's kind of like a clear vision of where they should go.
It's a roadmap.
Where's it? Where if I were on your live site right now, how do I get there?
Program.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, I guess at the top nav, because we didn't fix this, I don't think. So if you hover over programs, there should be a tab that says Career Writer Program. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, that's pretty buried. Okay. Got it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's the flagship. Then let's take them there.
Because this is all the membership programs essentially, and the beginner could either get their feet wet with just the network, which is $69 if they do a one-off month, or $59 if they do it on a subscription, and then the next thing is pitch prep and blah blah blah, and then you go on and
on. Okay.
Yeah, and I think even how the products are presented, we could probably come up with a way to present them where you see a little bit yes, if you're reading, left to right like everybody does, but maybe just sort of hitting it harder that this is the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, that in theory that this is the roadmap that people should follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, visually that does not come across. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Even in the month to month thing, the layout here, yes, that this is the correct order, but yeah, we can come up with something cool.
Yeah, we'll kind of talk about how to kind of, once we get past the homepage piece, we're going to talk about how to structure the different programming and products and what that needs to look like to get people where they need to go. But if this is the flagship, we're going to take them there from the top of the homepage.
Yeah.
So let me do this. Let me sort of do another wireframe sketch for you guys to kind of adjust based upon what we've talked about, because I think that'll be helpful. And also now knowing the theme choice we want to go with. But I think this is going to work well. We're going to do simple sentence up here. We're going to use this space here to reiterate that with these unique selling propositions we just talked about, these 3 main points. Then probably what we can do with this theme too is we can pick, here you go, partnerships. We can kind of move this section kind of up here, who partners we work with, and then let people self-select. Yeah, let's do that. And then after that, once we let them self-select, then we can kind of move into, I think you need to add some, well, I think there's two things. Actually, after the self-selection, you may want to give them other top products too, because you do have returning customers, right? People who have bought from you before. So when somebody's bought something, so tell me more about like when somebody buys, what does that look like? Are they typically buying again through like an email, or are they coming back to the site and looking for new stuff?
Usually it's prompted by an email.
Yeah.
Like for like when we open the pitching calendar, where there'll be like 25 sessions up, but we send a mailer saying the pitching calendar's up, and then people will come and sign up for 5 or 6 pitches.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, people aren't really looking around on the site to see what's up. It's like we have to sort of tell them about it, and then they're like, oh yeah, because people will be like, do you guys have like something where I can like, you know, get my written pitch looked at? Like, and I'm like, yeah, the written pitch clinic. It's been on there it's always there. Like, yeah. So yeah.
Because that's something. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, but that's something though. Even though you guys are 100% right that that's sort of like how people are coming to the site now. You know, as we kind of platform up and, you know, we start doing more ads, you know, social media ads and like sponsored advertising like that, Google, you know, AdWords and all this other stuff, you know, and we're bringing traffic to the site, you know. Yeah,
we're hoping to change that. But the way the platform works now is we have
right. Totally.
So I think I asked the question poorly. I think what I meant to ask is, if you had to select sort of like your top sellers, right? Or things that would be the sort of the, how do I phrase this? Because you guys operate a little bit differently, but it's like for both new and returning customers. Like, so think of them as sort of two different buckets of people, right? You know, new customers, there's specific things that you probably want to pitch them first. And then returning customers, it probably depends on what they bought before, right? So for new customers, it's probably pretty easy for us to say, okay, these are 4 things that are most likely going to appeal to somebody who's brand new to us. So we can put that like in the top product section. For a returning customer though, is it easy for you to anticipate what you think the top products would be for a returning customer? Or
more the top collections than it is specific.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Because then I would say it would be like open pitch, consultations, coverage, first 15s, and month mentorships. And maybe classes.
Wait, for returning customers?
Yeah. Because rather than it being a top product, it's really the top collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the collection because it's not like we can say like first 15s with Deckard. I mean, I guess that is probably a top product, but really just the first 15s in general, and then you choose which exec to do it, you know? Mm-hmm. It's more like the products are more like variants of the same product. But we do it in a collection to product, if that makes sense.
Okay. It does make sense. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly the way to put it, is that our collections are more like a product, and the products inside it are more like variants of the same product. Because it is the same thing, you're just choosing which exec's going to do it.
I'm also thinking of the same thing about the free products. Like, we're not going to just call it free products, but it's more like collections too, because you guys have like this webinar library, right? But those are paid products. But you also have free webinars too.
There are
right?
some free webinars in there, yeah.
Okay. So there's sort of free webinars, and then you've also got this sort of free, what do you call it, roundtable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or opening pages analysis.
Yeah.
What else do you guys offer that we would sort of consider like a lead magnet, like something that's free that just kind of gets them hooked into the system besides?
So there's like a free pitch prep, which would just be with somebody with on staff. Then there's like the free Zoom sessions, which are like opening page analysis, or the free virtual meetups, or, you know, the kind of sessions we do on Zoom that are either just with us, or there might be an exec there and it's free. And then the other free thing is, what was the other free thing? Oh, the free webinars that are in the library.
Okay. What do you find converts the best?
Wait, I just say really quickly, the only thing though out of all of those that if somebody stumbles on the site and can get for free is a free webinar. everything else either have to be in our email chain or that we have to know, we have to invite them to it. But the only thing right now on the site that's free that they could access without doing anything else is a free webinar.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you want to keep it? Do you want to keep it that way?
Free pitch preps and stuff where they can like email,
they
say, oh, I want a free pitch prep, and then so it would be available for them to sort of quote unquote register for.
But right now, do you guys have the infrastructure? Like if I wanted to sign up for this free roundtable, how do I do it?
Well, then right now,
or how about this? What do you want? How do you want it to work? Do you want anybody to be able to sign up, or do you want to have like a gate in front of it?
I think anybody can sign up for it. So if they just sign up like they would any other thing, and it's through Shopify or whatever, and they just sign up, and we see that somebody registered for it. So when it's time to send them all the link to participate, well, I guess it's all automated now. So yeah, they can just sign up on the site and just register themselves, and then then they get the link automatically sent to them.
Okay.
How would we filter out people who have? I mean, should it be a one-time only thing, right?
I mean, I'm fine with people doing it again, because really what it is that maybe there's like 30 people on it, but I just choose 3 writers more or less at random, which ones I'm actually going to.
Yeah, so if Frankie Gatto wants to get on it every fucking time, he's welcome to, but he's only going to get picked once.
Possibly once.
Maybe once.
Yeah. There could be like 200 people on it, but I'll only choose 3. And then from there, anybody else can listen and ask questions if there's time.
And ultimately, if it becomes a problem, you can put in a better filter system. Part of it is don't create problems until it's a problem. But okay, that's helpful. All right, so what I'm going to do is let me redo this, because I think this is really good. I think we pulled out some really good stuff here. So let me play around with this layout a little bit more, and let me send it over to you guys tomorrow, and let me know what you think. And in the meantime, you can kind of today and tomorrow, let's have you guys sort of think on this simple sentence and these unique selling propositions, these 3 that we just talked about, and kind of create a doc and just like sit down as a team and just like write up a bunch of versions of these. That way we can get a couple takes on the language. And then once I send you this mock-up, then let's loop in Brandon. And who's going to be sort of doing the theme work? Who's going to be sort of uploading the pieces to the theme?
Me.
That's going to be you, Dorian? Okay, cool. So you can just work with Brandon on this. And you guys can start. What I'll do too is I'll record you guys just a quick little video to show you how to work this theme. Have you used sort of that like sections thing yet, Dorian, where you can like move the pieces of the theme around? I don't know how much have you played in Shopify kind of themes before? None. Okay. I'm gonna record you a video.
I'm like, yeah, it's because like I said, we just did a free thing because mostly we were just using the buy button. Like we just did the buy button to
right. That's what I thought. So let me save you a half an hour of frustration and let me send you a video. It's not that it's frustrating. It's actually incredibly easy to use, but it just will be 10 times faster if I show you how to do it.
Cool.
Okay.
And then I guess I'll also have to get Shogun, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
You should for the homepage. Let's see how much we can do without Shogun first.
Okay.
Homepage should be no need for it. We should be able to do it without Shogun.
Oh, okay.
For some of the other landing pages though, Shogun it'll just make your life 10 times easier. So we should probably use it, but let's hold off on that. Unless you get into this and you feel like you just don't have enough mobility on the homepage, then we can use Shogun. As an example for Shogun, this Evits right here, this was all built using Shogun on the homepage.
Cool.
So it's very, very clean, super easy to use. But anyway, okay. So that's sort of the big next steps here is I want to get this over to you guys. I want you guys to work on this simple sentence and USPs a bit. And then I want to get Dorian in the theme actually creating this homepage hierarchy with these story pieces so we can see it. And then I can also jump in and help kind of finesse as needed. And then next week, what I'd love to be able to do is have a pretty decent, be in a pretty decent spot with this homepage piece, or at least in progress. And then let's start tackling the navigation, because that is, I think, one of the biggest issues right now for you guys is that it's just not clear where to go, right? And we're going to fix that in the homepage, but we got to fix it up here at the top too, because that's just not going to scale. And I want to spend next week focusing on that. Cool. All right, guys. Anything else?
The Shopify order confirmation email?
Yeah, I've got it. Maybe.
To like cancel Spently before they like charge us anything for anything.
Yeah. So the conclusion was that we have to keep the submit button in there, right?
Yeah, because they won't fire it multiple times. And it's like somebody's going to sign up for a pitch session a billion times. Like they need it to fire more than once. So it's just got to be on one.
It's very frustrating. You know, we could look at it. We could look at something else like Klaviyo, but I mean,
for now, let's just like
do it.
Leave it as it is, and then like if we've sort of discovered like, okay, now we really would like to segment and like that they get a receipt and then they get instructions. But like I said, they're going to be ordering the same collection and the same product again, so it has to go. It has to go every time they order it.
Yeah, Klaviyo would be the next option, and we can double check, but they can do that. Well, it's not. The problem is that it can fire. It's for. It wasn't that they couldn't fire twice too. It was also that you also had to do it through a vendor. You couldn't even get a category, right?
Yeah. And then it would be every single thing that you made that vendor. Right. Like so, if they ordered anything else. Because like I made all the open pitch sessions, the vendor, I made them open pitch, but it would only fire, even if they ordered separate open pitch sessions, it still only fired once for anything in that whole vendor group.
Yeah, okay.
But the webinar library links and stuff are working great.
All right, well, at least we're getting a small win on that. All right, new language confirmation email, okay. We've got it coded up. We just need to change the language in the top because you had sent me some new language. And I sent it to our dev. I just need to follow up with him. And then.
I want to know who's walking around behind Jorge outside. Is that Brandon?
It's Brandon. Yeah, he's on the phone.
Oh. I'm like, who's walking around in the driveway?
I'd be like, what are you talking about? There's nobody there.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Who's he on the phone with? And then I think that's it for now. So I should go install this theme from the Shopify themes.
What I would do is so I sent you that link in the email. That's like the Shopify theme store. So just go in there and type in the name of this Tokyo theme and add it as a preview theme. And that way you can add it for free and you can actually play around with it. And that way we can at least kind of get some of the homepage components pulled together before you buy it. And we can make sure you're 100% happy with it before you pull the trigger on it.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, sounds like a plan. So I'm gonna get that video over to you. I'm gonna do these new sketches, get them over to you tomorrow. I'm gonna get our confirmation email over to you tomorrow. And then once we have that, you guys should be good to start playing around in the theme and adjusting it like these layouts with this new language. And if you run into trouble, let me know. And then you guys on your end, kind of between today and tomorrow, or just whenever throughout this process over the next week, are going to work on refining that simple sentence and those USPs that we started with today. Just play with the language. You guys know your market so freaking well. So kind of take the starting point that we've created today and just create, like 10 versions of each of them and just kind of play around with it and see what resonates. And then we'll go through and we can pick the best. Ultimately, these will probably be refined and changed throughout the next couple of years. You guys are going to constantly refine this piece. But we just need to get you guys up to bare minimum, like B+, A- in terms of something that your market can very clearly understand and connect with and be enough to get them to start going through your programming and take that next step. So the more it's in their language, the better. So that's why I want you guys to play around with it because you guys are in the industry and you know the language.
Cool.
Cool. All right. That's all I got for you today.
All
right.
righty.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yep. Same time next week for a call. Work for you guys?
Yep, should be fine.
Cool. Sounds like a plan. All right, guys.
Well,
Enjoy your evening. I'll shoot you guys an email. We'll follow up via that.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks.
Sounds
Bye.
good. Later, guys.
Bye.